We've just had Alex in.
Yeah.
That was always good. She comes in every week. It's amazing. And we've just got a new special guest, and I've been looking forward to this conversation for probably about a week since we teed it up.
Yeah.
Kyron.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
It's Kyron.
It's spelt Kieran, pronounced Kyron, and a daily conversation that I have.
Yeah, awesome.
Where do you hear my name? So it's in the conversation.
I'm still like, Apple's been involved with us for a while now, and it's Apostolos.
It's Apostolos. It's Greek.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I love that. Apple.
But I'm terrible with names.
So Apple is my nickname. So.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
So it's Kyron Johnson.
Yes.
And you're known as the generosity guy.
Correct. And I think it's important for me to put out there straight away. I'm known as the generosity guy because I talk about the benefits of generosity, not because I have it nailed.
Yeah.
So it's a life journey for me. But yeah, it's for me, it was just a real desire to embrace generosity and become the generosity guy.
That's like, I've seen your website, and the name I think is amazing. I think that's really cool. But can you tell us how that evolved?
Yeah, I work for an organisation that does microfinance overseas, so it alleviates poverty, helps people to work their way out of poverty. And my role is fundraising. I connect with people to talk about their philanthropy. I connect with corporates. And when I stepped into that role, I had a background in development and banking and community radio and other bits and pieces. And I stepped into this role as a fundraiser, and I felt weird because I was sitting with people going, can you give me some money, please? Like, it was just this weird feeling that I was asking people to give me money, and it wasn't quite right. And so over time, I actually shifted the way that I thought about it to go, well, I'm not asking them for something. I am offering them something. I'm offering them an opportunity to give money to an organisation which is going to help them fulfil part of their purpose. Whether that's philanthropically or just socially, go, okay, I want to make a difference in this world. I'm going, cool, here's an opportunity for you to do that. So I kind of leant into it and went, excellent, I am spruiking generosity. I am the generosity guy. And that's kind of how it happened.
That's awesome. And so you connect businesses or people that have excess money that they want to, and I guess that's like the charitable status as well.
Yes,
helps,
yeah, absolutely. And it's for what we do, because we set up small loans for mothers to start a business. That connects really well with people who are entrepreneurial. So they've got their own business, and they recognise that when they started the business, somebody gave them a bit of a hand up, bit of a kickstart. Perhaps when they didn't kind of tick all the boxes. And so this is exactly in line with what they care about. So there's a few people that I connect with and talk to. And
so that's through a bank that you work for, is it? Or
it's a not-for-profit organisation, and we work through microfinance institutes on the ground. So they're kind of like small banks in India and Indonesia, but it's not quite the same setup. It's a very there's the small loans are not collateral based. We don't kind of hold someone's house as part of their necessity against the loan. It's purely unsecured, and they just get this loan of. And when I say loan, it's like a couple of $100. So, and that's enough to get them started on their way to start a business.
That's awesome. How long have you been doing that?
It's coming up to 7 years. So 7 years in this role with Opportunity International Australia, and I've done a lot of work with, you would probably know World Vision. I've done, did 9 years with World Vision, talking to young people about the 40-hour famine and that kind of thing. So it's been ingrained in my kind of life identity for the last 15 or so years. And the not-for-profit world is something that I'm very passionate about.
Wow. We need someone like you here.
and given your role, do you still get the benefit of hearing about some success stories?
I do.
That's
and
fantastic.
it's necessary.
Yes.
It is. Otherwise, you just kind of get all caught up in the world. And when you actually go, oh yeah, there's the story of a mother who has taken a loan, and she's started a business and just created an income. And so when people come to us to receive a loan from our partners, they don't start from zero. They normally start from debt. They start from, they owe a money lender something somewhere. And so we can actually, the part of the loan goes to clear their debt and then start a business so they can create an income. And globally, we know that mums are amazing. And so what they do with that money is to put their kids in school and to put food on the table and to give them kind of the things that they need. And I'm married and I have 4 children, and my wife does things and I'm like, why did you do that? And then 3 weeks later I'll go, oh, I get it. Like you think differently to how I think, and that's okay. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But if we can release that in mothers across the world, then that's going to make a significant difference, and that's how we're going to overcome poverty.
That's huge. And
Yeah.
how do you find the people? Like,
Yeah. When we go into a community that we haven't worked in before, we work with the community leaders. And when we find a group of women, maybe 10 or 20 women who come together, they all receive a loan at the same time. They start a business, and then every week or fortnightly they meet and kind of make repayments. Once that happens, and once people in their networks go, oh, you've got an income now. Oh, you've got a business, word spreads, and then they come to us. So, we have a reach of about, I want to say 6.7 million clients across Asia. And that's, mostly grown through word of mouth. There's still a long way to go, but people come to us.
that's massive, hey? Like, so
It's
much.
huge.
I love the idea that you're not just giving people money, that you're helping them to be able to fund themselves.
Well, it's about
I think
dignity
that's-
in that. Like, it's...
Yeah.
Often we set up the idea of charity as someone is sitting there who is helpless and just needs someone to come in and rescue
You
them.
need that handout.
Yeah.
They don't-
And
they
we've
don't sell
done
like
that for a long time and it hasn't worked, as well as going, you've got dignity and you've got some skills. Let's just empower that. Let's grow that and see what you're capable of. One of the things that I have not been able to find a way to measure yet is the psychological difference that it makes to a woman who receives a loan and becomes a business owner and a member of her community. Like, that's a huge impact. That changes how she turns up to her world and her family and her community and her kids. Like, it's extraordinary difference when people start turning up differently and an improved version of themselves. I don't have a spreadsheet or a pie chart for that yet.
And we're talking, is it mostly women?
Yeah,
or-
95% are
Yeah.
women. There's some men, but 95%, especially in places like India, where culturally, like the man will go off and work or might travel to work or might leave and kind of leave this woman alone. And so they're at home with the kids. And whilst they're there, we can actually provide something which helps them start a business. And like, it might be simple things like she might buy some, some material and kind of make something or weave something, or she might buy a sewing machine and sew something, or might buy some vegetables and start a vegetable stall. Like, it's a real, the barrier to entry is so small in places like India. So it's really easy to do.
Do they get like mentors as well to help them?
Yeah, when they meet weekly or fortnightly and make those repayments as they come together in a group, there's like a bit of peer connection, and so they help each other. But we provide some training in some circumstances as well around just like different parts of business and kind of marketing. But if you've survived in a slum in India for your life, you've got some skills.
Yeah. It's just tapping into those skills, isn't it?
Yeah.
And freeing them up.
Absolutely.
And finding someone that believes in you
Yes.
to give you that empowerment. So that's very important too.
I think we all want that, don't we?
Yeah.
Like, we want someone to be able to go, I see something in you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna spend some time and invest some capital in you and see what comes. It's a beautiful gift.
And it would have a flow-on effect as well. So we're not just talking about the wonderful woman that you're helping. We're then talking about her children or her other members in her community that, one, now have a service that she's providing or a product that she's now providing. But, the whole community benefits when there is some sort of ingenuity in it.
And we do know how the castes are in India as well, and how women are not seen as high up as men
Yeah.
as well. And they don't want to have women. They don't want to have girls when they're born, because they've got to give them away, and they have dowries, and it's a whole. That's how it used to be in Greece, 50 years ago. Sometimes it still is.
Yeah.
I'll get your daughter, but what do I get with it?
Yeah.
You're giving these people that drive and that feeling that I'm supported, I am believed in, I can do it.
And it's about cultural change as well, which can take a while. And we've seen it happen. And one of the things that we don't talk about as often, because we talk about mothers and entrepreneurs, but not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. Not everyone wants to be a business owner. I certainly don't. So there are people in India who do not want to be a business owner. They just want to work for someone.
Yeah.
And so we're creating those businesses for them to work in. And so when someone starts a business over a period of time, they'll employ their neighbours, their community. And so you've got 5 or 6 women working out of one particular warehouse, kind of making clothes. Like, that's extraordinary as well.
Yeah. No, that's so cool. And like, what's the So with the generosity guy, is that a separate thing to what you're doing there? Or?
It's intertwined, but it's more broader than just opportunity, because I talk about, I'll talk at different groups and go, okay, meet with business owners and talk about the importance of why businesses should be giving back.
Yeah.
And unpack the benefits of generosity for them, which, there's the individual benefits, but for the business, it's good for them. Like, it's good for their staff, it's good for their marketing, it's good for kind of the psychology of the business. So, I will broaden it out more so than opportunity, but spread the word about Opportunity International Australia.
So I've noticed on your website there's a few like interviews that you've done on the news and stuff like that. Do you do a lot of public speaking? Bits and pieces.
Like, it's that delicate balance of, okay, there's the job that I'm focused on, and then there's kind of other bits and things that I enjoy doing, which kind of spread the message of generosity as much as possible.
Yeah.
So that happens from time to time.
So are we focused on people in those countries? Do we help people here in Australia?
Yeah.
With the same company? Or
so our organisation doesn't do that. We're purely international, but there are other organisations in Australia that will do a similar sort of thing to Indigenous communities or lower socio-economic communities, which is just as important. It's a little bit more complicated because it takes, I want to say last time I heard it was about $5,000 created a small loan in Australia. Someone can use that. And
you definitely need more money.
More capital. I know that we talk about banks and how kind of, I don't know what you guys.
13 years of my life.
Yeah. So I've spent a bit of time with them, and there's a bit of evilness to them. But like, I know that Westpac actually heavily invest into a particular organisation that does some small loans in Australia. So like, there's some good parts to finance as well. So
the tax deductibles.
You went straight there. Okay, that's fine. I was trying to paint a nice picture.
So what are the personal benefits that you've gained from being the generosity guy and being involved in what you do?
It's the philosophy and the way that I look at the world. So if I can start from a place of generosity, the interactions that I have with people on my best days, if somebody is having a rough time and they are coming at me with attitude and aggression, I can look at that and go, what is happening for you? What is going on behind that is causing that particular outburst? And I don't judge in that moment. I can sit in there and we can kind of hold space, and perhaps we can have a conversation about that and get past the aggression on my best days. Not every day is my best day, I guarantee that. But it affects the way that I view people, and I view the world, and it affects the way that I think about money, and the way that I think about what I can do when I'm having some dark times. So there are some days which are rough, which are I don't know what you call it, being flat or being unmotivated. Like, the world is a big place. There's a lot of challenges that we face, and so in those times, I can sit in that and go, what can I do right now which is going to help my mental health? And if I can find a way to think outside of myself and do something for somebody else, I think World Kindness Day is, I want to say, the 17th of March. That's something that I think of frequently, like, okay, what can I do which is just a little random act of kindness for someone? And kindness, there's an author called Rutger Bregman. I want to say he's Dutch. Don't quote me on that. But he's written a book called Humankind, which is like the positive view of history and the positive view of psychology. And it's like a really intriguing book. And it kind of ends up saying kindness is like a virus. It spreads like a virus. So it's kind of that ripple effect, but almost on steroids. Is that a bad example? But like it's this
large scale.
Yeah, thank you for that. It's always nice to have someone who is but yeah, kindness, an act of kindness to you from you to someone else benefits them, but it also benefits the people that hear about it the same. So like, that's a powerful tool that we have. And so I think about that from my personal perspective. How can I be kind? What does kindness look like? How can I be generous with my money? How can I be generous with my time? How can I be generous with my opinions? How can I be generous online with my opinions? Like, there's a whole lot of realms which I try to use as a filter, which change the way that I approach people and I approach the world. And I'm hoping, I don't know, we'll see in 20, 30, 40 years' time, hoping that has a positive impact on those that are around me and my kids.
It's like the kind of pay it forward movement, isn't it?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
what people are kind to you, and then you respond and be kind back, and then it's just this huge movement of change in people's attitudes.
We talk about echo chambers and how they're a bad thing because you can get yourself caught into like the negative news and the negative opinions, or people just reflect back your ideas of something. But there can be such a positive thing as a kindness echo chamber. Like if you're caught in a world where everyone's being kind, that's okay. I'd like to be there.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah. Awesome. So who do you want to reach? So with the generosity guy, who are you trying to approach?
It's really one of the things that I came across and went, I'm feeling uncomfortable asking for money because some people haven't actually come to that point in life where they're giving money away yet. So my encouragement with the generosity guy is just to reach everyone and say giving money away is a good place to start if you want to engage in generosity and see the benefits for yourself, so that when I got the chance to meet them and have a conversation about them giving money away, they're already doing it. I don't have to kind of pull them across the line.
Cool.
It's a really broad way to say everybody, but really it's individuals in general who are going, there's something that I'm missing. There's a bit of perhaps I've been working in a career for a bit, or I'm just kind of struggling to find sort of purpose or what I'm doing with my life. An act of generosity is a really good starting point to find some meaning, to find some purpose, to actually put yourself in a positive place, to impact the world in a positive way. Again, that's fairly broad, but it's people who are looking to do something more.
And it's so good for your mental health as well. And for a lot of people, they do maybe a 9-to-5 job or something, and maybe they fall into a career and they can do it and they do it well, but it's not really fulfilling.
Yeah.
And so for those people, maybe this is an option where they can donate some of their excess money to be able to help a good cause.
Yeah, and I come across people who work in places like law firms, or they're accountants, or just you kind of like your stable sort of roles that people would strive for. And when I come across them, they say, I've been working here for a few years. When I started going down this path, I wanted to go down and do something, and maybe it was international law and change the world, but now I'm working for this big law firm. I'm kind of working for the man, so to speak. And they're going, I use this community outlet of generosity as my way of connecting with why I first got into this particular place. So it's kind of helping people find that space and that guidance as they journey through their world. And
if someone decides they're going to be generous, do they get to hear about the stories of what their mother? Yeah. And so we share the stories of the mothers. There's a great video of one of our, actually the daughter of one of our clients. It's on our website at the moment. So her mother was, they grew up in poverty. They maybe had one meal a day, and so her mother took a small loan and bought some pigs with that, and to kind of create a bit of a pig farm and kind of sell that. And so created an income, and then she took another loan and started making like little. There's a specific name, but essentially they're fish balls. So like little balls of fish, which sound disgusting, but it worked really well. And so she created this income, and so she sent both her daughters to school. Her eldest daughter then got a scholarship to go to a really good high school, and then another scholarship to go to a good university, which took her to America. And so she's graduated from colleges in America. She's like an award-winning essay writer. She won the Phil Drucker Essay Award. Went to get that in Vienna. Now works for the Center of Global Development in Washington, because her mum took a small loan to buy some pigs. Because someone was generous.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so if that hadn't happened, this woman, her name's Amina, she never would have ended up working in this role in Washington. And we would have lost, she's a very intelligent, very switched on young woman, and we would have lost that had it not been for someone's generosity. And the beauty of that now is Amina became a mother earlier this year. Oh, wow. She's had her first child, and so this cycle is broken because her child won't grow up in the same sort of poverty that she did, again, because somebody was generous. And that's the benefit that it has across, perhaps the other side of the world. The people who gave to her have also received that benefit. They've got a change in their life because they know that they've done something significant.
Does the work you do make you feel warm and fuzzy? I love the idea of what you guys are doing.
Yeah, it does. you need to be intentional about it, though.
Yeah.
Like, I'd actually sit back and go, oh, yeah, this is what we're doing. It's not just about kind of bringing in dollars and cents and all that kind of thing. It's about we're making a difference in the world. Let's stay connected with the story. Because if you don't do that, then it just becomes a job.
Yeah.
So.
But I can see that how that will give your life so much meaning.
Yeah.
Because of what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's, for me, I found early on, I was working for a bank living in Melbourne and meeting with, like in my younger days, it was one of my first main roles. And I remember meeting with financial planners and we were kind of selling our products to them and trying to get them to invest their money with us. And they'd talk about how many millions of dollars they had in funds under management. And I went, oh man, I don't care about that at all. Like this is a problem. If I don't care about the job that I'm doing, I'm not sure if I can do it. And so I had this midlife crisis at the age of 23 and just went, oh, I need to find something else, something with meaning to it. And so for me, if it doesn't have meaning, then I have a real problem doing it. And I think you can say that for a lot of things and you can be in jobs where you don't actually find meaningful and still find meaning in them. Perhaps there was a flaw that I had as a younger man, but it needs to be purposeful for me day to day. Otherwise, I have a huge amount of trouble.
That's amazing. I'm so glad that you came in today. I just absolutely love what you guys are doing. Yeah. And
So to find out more?
Yep.
Find out more, you can head to my website. It's thegenerosityguy.com.
Yep.
The organisation that I work for is Opportunity International Australia. They've got a website, it's opportunity.org.au. And I encourage you, if you're listening and going, oh, generosity, that sounds okay. Like there's some benefits. So how do I do this? Don't jump in feet first and kind of give all your money in your house away. I encourage people to start small and consistently. So set aside $5 a week and go buy someone else a coffee and just kind of create, because generosity is a habit. It's a muscle.
Yeah.
If you don't grow it and build it, you're going to do yourself some damage if you jump in too quick. And I also encourage people, like, don't wait until you become like uber wealthy to then be generous. Be generous now, because how you are with money today is going to be how you are with money tomorrow, even if you've got more. It's about building that habit. So I encourage people to start small, be consistent, build the habit, and spread generosity where you can.
It's actually interesting that, I mean, the way that we view money is a mindset. And I've read a lot of stuff about how the difference between how richer people manage money versus poorer people. And richer people tend to be quite generous in giving their money away because then it comes back, while poorer people tend to hold on to everything and then they just lose what they have.
Yeah.
And I think that what you said is, the more generous you are, the more you give, the more it comes back to you.
There's a guy in the US, his name's Dave Ramsey. He has like a money kind of finance business, and he says that money doesn't change you. Money just makes you more of who you already are. So if you're a stingy jerk, and you get money, then you'll be a stingy jerk. Like it's just it's about becoming the type of person that when kind of money comes in, you can be generous with it now.
Yeah, like we say, like I'm large. When I'm saying I'm large, I'm large in giving, and that's giving is not only money. It's giving feelings. It's giving emotion. It's giving, caringness and kindness. So if someone is stingy, he'll be stingy in his emotions too.
Yeah.
And that's not that's not a society that we want.
Yeah.
No.
And that stingy person's not getting anything valuable back in return.
And it's sad for them, right? Like it's sad when I see stingy people, and it's sad for me at those times when I act stingy, because I'm missing out and people are missing out on me. And so to be generous even with your emotions and your relationship is such a gift. Like when you share of your vulnerability to someone, that's a generous act. It's a risk as well. Like all generosity is risky because you never know how it's going to be received. It may be thrown back into your face. It may be like completely just disregarded and trampled on. But it's a risk that I always say is worth taking, because the majority of the time it will pay off because people will receive it well and it will have a huge benefit and will do great things.
Yeah. And even if it doesn't, at the end of the day, you sleep well at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I see things as well. Like, that's it.
It's your conscience, isn't it?
Do it. Do something. You're gonna do something. Be good.
Yeah.
Do something good for the world and be the change. What we say always.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming in, Kyron.
Pleasure.
I'm sorry, I keep thinking Kieran in my head.
I
Kyron.
can see it in your head, like there's this cognitive kind of.
I'm just terrible with names.
It's impressive.
It's Tristram with Chiron. So, okay, I can get it. Apostolos and Sarah in the middle.
Thanks for bringing some normalcy to this, Sarah. I
Yeah,
appreciate
okay.
it.
She's the only normal one here. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to go to some music.